Okay, Microsoft Word is a great program. It's got a wonderful amount of tools. However, in my personal opinion, it's got a setting in it which will actually make your life just a living nightmare if you're trying to format papers a certain way. And it deals with paragraph spacing. So, I'm going to show you first how to fix it and then show you a real example of what happens if you don't fix it. So, under the Home tab, you have all this kind of stuff. There is a section for paragraphs, paragraph. Over here in the corner of that, right there, if you click on that little box, boom, it'll bring up a new window, paragraph. Okay, we're dealing with the spacing. Now, if you notice right down here, it says don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. That is not checked normally. That's just the way it's set up. That's actually bad because what it's doing is that it is actually adding a space between paragraphs of the same style. It's automatically doing that. Boo! That's actually bad. Okay, so you want to check that before you even get started on anything else. Check that and then hit OK. Okay, that's going to solve that problem. You're not going to have to worry about formatting. What happens if you don't do that? Well, great question. Let's take a look at a paper where that's a problem. Okay, so this is an MLA formatted paper. Well, it's supposed to be at least. In MLA formatting, everything is supposed to be double space. Okay, but it's not. There's like this huge gap. Okay, so you look at the gap here between this line and this line. That is double spaced. That's fine, no problem. Is that gap there the same gap that's here and here? No, it's not. This is a bigger gap. Is this the same gap between here and here as here and here? No, it's not. Okay, because what's happening is that whenever they're hitting the enter button and starting a new paragraph, it's adding an extra space. Okay. So you can fix it after the fact, but it's kind of a challenge. So watch what happens here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this top corner information. I'm going to go to this same button. See how this is not checked? So when I check it and hit OK, boop, it makes it all nicey nice. See? Now that spacing between here and here matches that space between here and here. We still have some other issues, so let's go ahead and just, I don't know, do the first little part of this. And now it's got a little box like, well, some of it's added, and some of it has spaces, some of it doesn't. Okay, just make sure it is checked. You don't want a square, you don't want a blank, you want it to see a check mark. Okay, now that makes it so the gap between the title and the first line is what it should be. Okay, that is, yay, so that's been fixed. Now what happens if you don't fix it with a paragraph? So let's go down here and let's uncheck it. Then what happens is that when you finish a paragraph and you go to start a new paragraph, okay, look at the gap. Look at the gap between this paragraph and that paragraph. It's bigger. It's bigger than this gap. That's bad. That is a problem. That is a formatting problem. Okay? Again, MLA formatting is very specific. And certain formattings are very specific. You don't want to have these extra gaps. And you may be like, why are these extra gaps happening? Okay, it's because of this really stupid little thing right here, which hasn't been checked. So check it, boom, you've now fixed it. So now that is better. Okay, that is better. That's the way it should look. So that's how you fix that extra gap that happens with Word. Go forth and conquer.